Hey guys, long time no see. It's so great to be posting here on Redbeard Plays on YouTube today. I hope everybody's been well. I know that it's been a little bit of a journey, and we're going to get into sharing some of that here momentarily with you guys, I promise. But I just want to get right into the main purpose of this video and not drag that out. So those of you that just want the general gist, you get that. You can move on. You can keep watching if you want, whatever. So this is an announcement video, and I'm very excited to be saying this, but Redbeard Plays is going to be coming back and streaming on Twitch. So I will be getting ready to debut streaming again on Twitch under the Redbeard brand alongside my other brand, which I'll share some more of that here in a moment, but and dive into some of the purpose and reasoning behind the break or the separation or whatever you want to call it. But Redbeard's coming back. Our debut, it's going to be this Saturday, October the 20th. And I haven't exactly locked in on a time yet, but it will either be 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. So I've got some stuff going on Friday, and it really will just be determined by what time we're done with that, and I'm home and I get some rest Saturday morning. That will kind of lock in what time we start. I'll post that in the Discord. Speaking of, we're revitalizing the Discord. You know, I basically, whenever I stepped away from Redbeard and stepped away from this brand, I pretty much archived everything. So by the time the channel is live on September 20th, this Saturday, by the time the channel is live and I'm streaming on Twitch, that Discord will be accessible, and the channels that are open to the general users will be open. People that have the subscriber benefit channel access, you guys will have access to that. That channel, just to kind of share some stuff, it has years. We're pushing a decade worth of social and community interactions in chats, memes, pictures, writings. We had a lot of people write and share their, that were pursuing being authors or just expressing themselves. So feel free, check those channels out if you are a part of those portions of the community. And if you're coming back, I'm excited to see you guys dive back into sharing your thoughts and your ideas and expressing yourselves. It's something that I've really, really missed. And before we take a moment to delve into specifics as far as the whole separation and stuff, because I do truly believe you guys have been very patient, okay? You guys that are still around, that are still subscribed or following my Redbeard Twitch channel, or even subscribed. I was blown away. I still have people subscribed over on Twitch, and I want to genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you. Thank you so much, because there was a period of time where I was very lost in what I wanted for content, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But I will say, when we're coming back, so what you guys can expect maybe here on this channel, over on Twitch with this channel, is we're going to be very focused on first-person shooters or other similar games. So to be specific, Call of Duty, Battlefield, especially Battlefield. When Battlefield 6 comes out, we're going to really get into Battlefield, Arma, Squad, things like that are very community-driven games where we can all hang out, play together, or I can just hang out and talk to you guys while I pew-pew a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But this is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time, but needed to be in the right headspace. All right, guys, so this is the part of the video that honestly is probably going to be a bit longer. So if you've made it to this point, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Again, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, join the Discord down below, follow me over on Twitch, and join the community. So to be more specific on the stream schedule, that is probably going to be twice a week, okay? Streams, as far as streaming is concerned, the reason why it's going to be starting out at twice a week is, for one big reason. First off, I need to manage my life. I need to balance my personal life. And this is where I'm going to give a bit of a disclaimer. okay? It's gonna sound like I'm oversharing, and here's the thing, that without context of some of these decisions with content, it really won't make any sense as to why I'm choosing to do this, okay? So to get more into explaining why I'm stepping away, okay, or stepped away. So going all the way back into the early 2020 COVID era, right? On Twitch with live streams, this channel, this brand on Twitch, not so much on YouTube, as you can tell. It's not like I'm a big channel. I have 400 subscribers. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a terrible YouTuber, okay? I just talk about whatever, make whatever I want. I don't understand algorithms, but I do what I love and I enjoy what I do. And over on Twitch, though, we had a very involved community, very active stream chat, very active Discord. Okay. During that time, I was going through a lot of things that looking back, it's quite honestly surprising that I managed the community that I did, because I was struggling with alcohol abuse. I've recently accepted I am in fact an alcoholic. Okay. Those of you that know me know that if you've watched my stream going all the way back to 2015 when I first started streaming, really in 2013, but back to 2015 is really when it got bad. I was an alcoholic. I still am. I am 76 days sober as of this recording. And I've lost 17 pounds. I'm down to 245 pounds. And this is something that took a large control of my life. It did not allow me to know how to communicate. I did not recognize social cues. I did not recognize the type of people that was involved with my life and wanted to be involved with my life. And the people that were involved, I could not truly appreciate what they were there doing for me. I realize that now. Many of them are gone, and a handful remain. And truthfully, there is no hard feelings. This is simply taking ownership of my past. And many of you that watched those streams, you know, it's all self-explanatory. Whenever you're so wasted on a live stream that you are streaming a game, Call of Duty, World War II, this is going back, you're blackout drunk to the point that you go to the bathroom, you make yourself vomit so you can continue drinking, and then when you come back, you cannot find your controller. Finally, one of your friends calls you and he says, hey, look down on the floor and to your right. And there's the controller, okay? I'm sharing all this because it's very important. I was very stressed out in my life. There's a lot of issues within my family. I cannot make a long enough video to fully delve into, but I will say this, if you were around back then, you will know, okay, you'll know that I cut my dad off. We did not talk for 8 years. All right. And some of you may be thinking, oh man, you're such a terrible son. How could you do that? It's clearly because you were drinking, you're alcoholic. But here's the thing. My dad, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a professional, but my dad has some narcissistic tendencies, and he has a very good way of emotionally manipulating people in general. Okay. It got to a point where my father was sitting in my home with me and my lovely, amazing fiance, who has been beyond compassionate and considerate and patient with me during all of what I'm sharing, because this was extremely difficult for her. And if it was anybody else, they never would have stayed with me, first off. But sitting in our home, insulting us, calling us morons and idiots. My dad, if we're fast forwarding a bit, we did not talk for 8 years. Now, all of this, I promise, has a purpose and a reason that I'm sharing all this. So, but if we fast forward to 2022, towards the tail end of the Redbeard saga, okay, I became very ill, all right, to the point I could not eat. I had severe abdominal issues. Hindsight, now we know it was my gallbladder, but at the time it was a very scary, real wake-up call. I couldn't eat anything for weeks. If I did, I became sick and ill. I also discovered I technically have liver disease. Now, keep in mind, this was all occurring over the course of from February of 22 to June of 22. So it was a very long window of time, many tests, many doctor's visits. It was scary. Now, throughout this course of time, we discovered through testing I have liver disease. My gallbladder was operating at 0%, which is what was ultimately causing the pain, which honestly, through a roundabout crazy turn of events, actually may be what saved my life and getting me going in a direction of becoming sober and getting help for myself. Now, with that said, you guys may remember a window of time where we stayed with some friends. I'm eternally grateful for that because my surgery and my health conditions and everything did cut into my finances. And during that process, they allowed us to stay with them until I got back on my feet, and they did, and we did. And I'm very grateful for it. Once we got moved out, you guys may remember during that window of time, that is whenever I said, I'm done with Redbeard. So all of this is leading up to this moment. Again, still very relevant in what we're talking about. I promise. So I was in a place where I felt very lost. Okay. I'm trying to become sober. My entire identity at the time was wrapped up in Redbeard, and Redbeard's identity was grounded in alcoholism. Okay, maybe not to the average viewer or the person tuning in. Okay, I don't think I'm a bad person, but I clearly had an issue. I clearly had a problem, and it was coming out when I was streaming. And the truth is, many people distanced themselves from me while streaming. Under Redbeard and under my alcoholic behavior and things like that. And honestly, I don't blame them. How can you have fun with a dude drinking a bottle of Jack every single night, raging out, losing their mind? How can you do that? You can't. It's not possible. It's going to get old, and you're going to feel burnout, emotional burnout from this person. So once I realized, dude, I don't have anybody that wants to make content with me. I can ask people to play video games with me. They avoid me. They don't want to hang out in Discord anymore. I'm alone in terms of my social life. My social circle is non-existent now. It was very lonely and very painful realization. And so in that window of time, I decided, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I am beyond burnt out with this whole ordeal. Now, one thing I knew through this entire window of time, okay, something that ultimately reverted me back to a youthful state in my life. Fallout is something that I love. I'm passionate about it. If you know anything about me, on stream, off stream, doesn't matter. I love Fallout. That is whenever we grew and we stepped away from Redbeard. Now, when I say grow, I don't mean like stepping away was a growth. I mean that stepping away was the first step in my personal growth because it allowed me, Daniel. You guys online call me Dan. I'm going to be honest. I hate it. I hate going by Dan. That's what my dad always went by. I've just never pushed back against it. So I guess officially I'll say if you guys would refer to me as Danny or Daniel, that would actually be ideal. That's the first time I've ever said that out loud on the internet, so that's cool. Fallout, though, was a turning point for me and my content creation because I've always wanted to delve into the lore. I've always wanted to learn more about the story, learn more about the game, the franchise that honestly saved my life. Okay? I know this is a lot, but I promise, hang with me, guys. When I was a child, I played Fallout 3. Okay, it came out when I was in 11th grade. I played it in 2009 whenever I went into my senior year of high school. I bought it in a $5 bin at Walmart. Many of you guys are not old enough to remember stuff like that because everything's digital now or Steam. But back in the day, you could go to Walmart and you could buy a game. Xbox Platinum or PlayStation Greatest Hits. If you're old enough to remember that, hit the like button, comment down below what's your favorite Platinum hit or Greatest Hit game. But for me, it was Fallout. I paid $5 for it, for Fallout 3, and it changed my life because up to that point, all I'd played is Call of Duty. Call of Duty this, Call of Duty that, Halo, basically any first-person shooter. That was pretty much all I played exclusively. Medal of Honor, and Fallout honestly branched my options out into other RPGs and stories. And I knew if I was going to be healthier up here with my content, I needed to step away from Call of Duty. And everybody's wondering why. Okay, but you spent 8 years making content through Redbeard. Why would you throw that away? Because of the stigma in my head of it being surrounded around my alcoholism. Okay, towards the end, a lot of people were coming in and they were doing things to fuel the drinking. That's not who I am anymore and who I want to be. So the point I'm getting to, guys, all right, that's what led me to my other channel, Reclused Gaming. Okay, Reclused Gaming has ultimately been an escape for me from a lot of rough things in my life, and it's allowed me to be expressive and do something that I enjoy on my own without feeling alone, because I'm focused on something. I'm working on research, I'm writing scripts, I'm editing, I'm doing all of this different stuff. Okay, these are things that I've never done with content creation before, and honestly, it was a huge growth point with me with YouTube and with Discord management and community management, because for everybody watching here, I have a whole nother Discord for Reclused Gaming, and you know, if you guys want to join it. If you like Fallout and other story-based games, the link's down below. If you go to my other channels, the subscribe to section of YouTube, here on the channel, Reclused Gaming is, I think, one of the only channels on there that's listed. So check that out. Anyway, so this all bleeds together, and it brings a foundation of, I caught myself whenever basically the disassociation of Reclused Gaming was not helping anymore. I still found myself going back to Call of Duty. Okay, Black Ops 6 came out, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the game is trash. It's garbage. It is one of the worst first-person shooters I've ever played in 2025. But when it first came out, when it first released, and it was on Game Pass, I downloaded it. And I've got to say, that's the hardest I've grinded a Call of Duty in a very, very long time. Before that, I don't remember the last COD I pre-ordered. I think it was Modern Warfare 2 2022. I actually just started playing that again casually, and honestly, it is a great time. Okay? But with all that said, Black Ops 6 came out, and I missed it. I missed sitting there. And I kind of did it. I streamed it through Reclused, and it took off. It did really well. And then I've streamed off and on Redbeard playing Black Ops 6 and other first-person shooters. And I've seen some old faces. And if you're one of them that stopped by, thank you so much. But I've seen some people that I met a decade ago, which is so cool that some of you guys still come through live streams whenever you randomly would get a notification. Now, with all of that said, I miss this community. I miss Redbeard, and I miss first-person shooter content. So I decided, let's bring it back. Let's do it. Life is too short to skip out on things you want to do. And to fully like bring to a closure part of the story, I left you guys hanging with the whole thing about my dad and us not talking and stuff. We fast forward to March, and I have a session, and I'm telling my therapist, hey man, I've been thinking about this for probably a month or two, maybe longer, about not just that I miss my dad, but I need to reconnect with him. I have a lot of things I need to get dealt with and handled and closure, because in the off chance that some freak accidents happens, I don't want to not be like on good standing, right? I don't want his last thoughts to be my son hates me. And crazy, the world, universe, whatever you want to call it, is absolutely absurd. And I'm only sharing this here because I have shared it publicly in my Reclused Gaming Discord and on stream and stuff. So this is nothing new. This is not new information. But my dad, I got a phone call on March, I believe it was the 27th or the 28th, that my dad had went to the emergency room. This was like the week after I told my therapist all this, by the way, that my father had went to the emergency room. They didn't know what was wrong with him specifically. They just knew that he had a mass in his brain. I did not hesitate. I got into the car. We later learned on April 1st, what a day to find out, right? My father still has a glioblastoma. It is a very gnarly tumor. It has actually a pretty high rate of long-term survivability if it is in an operable portion of your brain. You will be a different person because it affects personality and things of that nature, but you can survive, especially if you're, say, in your 30s and you're diagnosed. You could live another 20 to 30 years and nobody may even notice that you're different or whatever. You may be able to readjust back to life. Again, this is if it's in an operable portion of your brain. However, his was not. His is actually right basically behind his left eye, resting up against the brainstem. They did a biopsy and they later discovered it is in fact a high-grade glioblastoma, which then reduced his survivability rate from 10 to 20 years down to 6 months to a year and a half. And as of this recording, we're right at exactly 6 months. He was back in the hospital this weekend, and recently, and the reason why I got sober, and this is all why I have to share all this and why I've been gone. I had to get sober because I can't do things that I love. I realized with my last visit with my dad before this most recent one, I was severely depressed. I was struggling with the drinking. I was not enjoying things that I normally would, and I was not connecting with people that I would normally connect with. I was not communicating in a healthy manner with my partner, and I cannot manage my emotions or regulate them. I have a terrible habit of making plans and then not following through with them. I have a issue with not being committed to those plans once I initiate them. So after we found all this out about him, I decided I have to commit myself to improving me and for myself and for my family. My family being my partner and our sweet fur animals, fur babies, whatever you want to call them. Because in life, at the end of the day, that's who you have, is you and your person, or you and your animals, or you and your children. And so I decided to get sober and go dial in even more with therapy. And as I've been doing that, it's been almost 3 months, and honestly, I miss this. I miss this. I miss this. I miss being creative. I miss gaming. I miss hanging out with friends. I miss all of this stuff. And since I've put the bottle down, the truth is, it's the clearest I've ever thought about how I can be creative, things that I can do with my stream, things that I can do with the channel, things I can do with community members, things I can do with my partner, with things we want to pursue. I'm looking into getting back into doodling, drawing, things like that. I mean, I have a degree in art, never used it because all I wanted to do was drink. That's all I wanted to do. So here we are. We're back. We're in the saddle. We're ready to get it going again. I'm ready to get it going again. I want to hang out with you guys. And the reason why we are going to stream for sure starting 2 days a week, maybe a third, is because Reclused Gaming. Reclused Gaming is still very important to me. It is still my passion project. It's still the thing that I love above all else with my content so far, because of my ability to be very creative in a YouTube element, whereas this allows me to be creative in a stream setting and then share that later here on YouTube or whatever, TikTok, whatever. So again, if you guys want to join the party, subscribe, join our Discord, go follow me on Twitch, subscribe over on Twitch if you want to support me. Check out Reclused Gaming, join that Discord. It's going to be listed down below. Join that community as well. You can subscribe. I have actually YouTube memberships on that channel, so if you guys like that stuff and you know, lore videos and stuff and want to support me, check that out. I'm going to be doing horror games for October, so long as like nothing comes up with my dad that like prevents me from really sitting down and like really diving into the spooky season games. And yeah, I mean, I know this was an extremely long video, but I feel like you guys deserve an explanation of where I went and why. Okay. And this is like honestly a very summarized version, but there's so much more. I could be here for 2 hours, 3 hours sharing stuff. But as far as the stream schedule that I've talked about with Madi, and we've kind of come to an agreement on, so we both have time for ourselves, streaming 3 days a week on Reclused. So again, I know that's a different channel, but it's my passion project. And a lot of my community shifted over with that. And I'm so grateful for you guys that have kept up with me on an individual level, as well as my content over on Reclused Gaming. So that channel streaming will be Sunday mornings. I'm officially locking in Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. And then right after I get done with that stream I plan on it lasting probably 4 hours. So that'd be 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock Central Time. And then I will take like an hour so I can get lunch and chill. And then after that, around 3 p.m. Central, we'll be live on Redbeard Plays on Twitch. And then I'll stream. The scheduled time will be 4 hours, but if it lasts longer, it lasts longer. And then my other stream days will be Wednesday for Reclused Gaming. When I get home from work, as of right now, it's Wednesday, but it could change. But right now it's Wednesdays, and that time is 7 p.m. Sorry, I had to like remember what time I get off work and everything. 7 p.m. And I usually stream on those nights for about 4 hours as well, so I can get in bed by 11:30. And then for this channel, the next stream would then be Friday night at her and I talked about it. If I'm not busy and nothing's going on a Friday night, it would be around probably the same time, like 7 or 8 p.m. But tentatively, as of now, we're looking at about 8 p.m. That's what I'm going to run it as next week, just to trial period it, see how everybody feels about it. And then if it changes, I'll make an announcement in Discord, the Redbeard Discord. And then as far as for Reclused Gaming on Fridays, I would be planning to stream Friday mornings around like the same, like probably like 9 a.m., 10 o'clock. And I'll make that announcement locked in stone on that Discord, but tentatively 10 a.m. on Fridays. So again, for Redbeard Plays, if you guys want to hang out on Twitch, it's going to be Sundays at 3 p.m., Fridays at 8 p.m. All right. So I know this was a lot. I know this was a really extensive video and really drawn out, but again, I felt like you guys really deserved an explanation. Make sure you join the social media stuff down below, join Discord, follow me on Twitch. Again, the games we're going to be focusing on with this channel is Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Arma. All right. Thank you guys so much. If you made it to this point and watched the entire video, or even if you just clicked around, thank you for checking it out. All right. We'll see you guys next time. All right. Hopefully over on Twitch. If not, I'll be posting highlights and clips back on this channel, just like back in the good old days. All right. See you guys. Have a great day.